What is up, guys? My name is Jack McNeil. Thanks for tuning in to the MLB Talk 101. I am absolutely honored to be joined by Cardinals prospect, speedster, and draft product of, what was it, 2010, 2011, I believe 2010 right there at the end of the season. No, it's 2011. Lance Jeffries, had to correct myself there. And he joins us today via video chat. We finally figured this Google Hangout situation, and it's working. So excited to have him on here. We've got a few more days left of winter break. We're going to have some packed shows today and tomorrow with some of the top minor league prospects that you want to hear from. So again, Lance, first of all, I want to thank you for joining me today and how you've been enjoying the offseason, man.
Thank you for having me on the show. And the off season has been really, I guess, a lot going on. The whole restricted list thing, had to get that kind of taken care of. Working out, batting cage about 6 times a week. It's crazy. Getting ready for the season.
Absolutely. You're getting ready for the season. Cardinal fans are excited to see what you can do. As they've had an interesting offseason as well. They've been really busy towards the beginning part of it. They spent some money, finally, in the free agent market. They've had some money cleared up. But there's a few question marks in the outfield. You have Peter Bourjos coming in here. John Jay is kind of out of the picture. And for you, you're in the lower levels right now trying to get a chance with kind of a crowded outfield class. Guys like C.J. McElroy have come up, other speedsters, outfielders, straight up from high school, coming and joining the Cardinals. So how do you see yourself fitting into this kind of crowded outfield for the Cardinals in the future and the Cardinals organization in general?
I feel like I can stand my ground. As long as I keep playing, giving my all, my 100%. I feel like I'm gonna be around in that group of top outfielders.
Right, exactly, and it wasn't too long ago when you were kind of a sleeper candidate for the top prospects and even in the top 20 and inching your way into the top 10 because of the speed, the hitting tools. You hit almost 600 in high school, and I remember there's a quote that you were saying that there wasn't too much competition in high school. Can you speak a little more on that in terms of the adjustment from high school ball, which, it's got to be a huge adjustment, to playing in the minors? Obviously the velocity is a big part of that, but what are the biggest adjustments that you've been forced to make going from high school superstar into the minor leagues?
The number one biggest adjustment is the curveball, because in high school the Suburban Northern League didn't even know what a curveball was, and the velocity was nowhere near 90 every inning. It was about 70 top, so that's a really big adjustment.
Right, a huge adjustment there, obviously going from high school to the minors. Now, you grew up in Ferguson, Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, so kind of a hometown kid. And I remember you were very obviously extremely excited to be drafted by the Cardinals. Of course, anyone would. It's a great organization, and just to be drafted in general. Can you take us back to that day that you were drafted, and you still kind of get goosebumps to think that, that you're living in Missouri, you went to high school there, and you had a chance to be drafted by one of the most storied franchises of all time, perennial World Series contenders, and I'm not sure if it was your favorite team growing up, but do you still get goosebumps thinking that you were drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals?
Oh yes. Actually, me and my wife was talking about the other day, like the moment that it actually happened. Like me and my mom were like running through the house screaming yes. Like I know it's funny because
right.
I really couldn't believe it. I got drafted in the 10th round by the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, that's like one of my many big dreams I've as a little boy. It's just
right. Yeah, absolutely. That's funny that you can admit that you're running around, because a lot of players will come on a show or something and I was expecting a first round or something like that, and kind of have that reaction where they're not taken as a big deal. And understandably, in some aspects, I understand the game is more important to focus on that moving forward. But hey, you got to enjoy every moment, and obviously the draft it's a huge honor that only a select few get to experience. So you're drafted 10th round or so. And for the Cardinals, they kind of got a steal right there. It was a while where you were not going to be considered to be drafted by the Cardinals. I'm hearing at least it was kind of a late decision that you guys started talking later. Pretty much most teams wanted you, if I can, recall correctly here. You were a very busy man, I'm sure, working out for a lot of teams. When did you think that you were going to be drafted by the Cardinals, or did you have any preconceived notions that this was probably the team you were going to?
The Cardinals, they were. I can probably use the word sneaky in the draft, because they were like one of the least like teams that had the most like the interest in me,
Right.
and like out of nowhere, like it just popped up and out of nowhere and just drafted me. I was like, wow, because I was thinking I was going to go to the Kansas City Royals. So the Cardinals, that was like a big wow. I was like, oh my
Right.
god.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, either team they would have been somewhat close to each other, so I mean that's I guess a positive there. But yeah, I mean, maybe the Cardinals were playing the whole pretend to not be interested, and then when they get interested, you're for sure going to sign with them. I don't know, but obviously you had all the tools out of high school, and what you're really known for, I think, for Cardinal fans that stand out is the athleticism and the speed. And this is an organization that for years we've been trying to convert outfielders to second base and Alan Craig to second base and guys out of their natural position, and the athleticism hasn't really been there. And more recently we've seen them kind of take a two-sport athlete approach, just guys that can hit, can run, and can adjust very well. Do you consider yourself on the upper tier of athletes in at least on the teams that you've been with, and do you pride yourself on the speed and all of that?
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be like my golden ticket. It's my speed. It got me where I'm at now, and if I keep working, probably have to continue to work on my hitting. But I think my speed is gonna be my golden ticket.
Right, and I think you ran a 6.6 in your 60-yard dash just working out for teams a few years ago. So the speed really does stand out. You were perfect for stolen bases up until I think when the minors and the catching got better and better. Did you see? What were the adjustments you had to make as a base runner? Obviously, the catchers are better throwers, and thank God you're on the Cardinals because you'll never have to face off against Yadier Molina unless something happens. So, what are the biggest adjustments that you've made base running wise since you've been in the minors?
Learning the pitchers, learning what counts to run on. That's the biggest part, and learn how to get a good jump, the perfect jump.
Right, and you've been learning on that jump. Are there any coaches in your mind that stand out in this organization that have really taught you a lot, not only about base running? I know they've tried to bring in some special assistants that have the Major League base running experience. I'm not sure if you've been able to work with former players that were, just whizzes on stolen bases, or not. But, what coaches in your mind stand out that have led you to the development where you are right now?
I have about three coaches that I can just name off the top of the head. I'll say Oliver Marmol, Steve Turco, and he's a rover, Willie McGee.
Willie McGee. That's a good one right there. Definitely won some points there. Yeah, obviously the stolen bases thing, that's going to be exciting for Cardinal fans entering the next season. But before we get to the next season and try to work on the hitting, we have to realize that I think there's probably a question that a lot of Cardinal fans are wondering now. Although the season for short season Appalachian League, it didn't end too far after. You ended up not playing in an official game since like late July. So I guess the first question was, how is that long break for you, and did you just start focusing on training right when you knew that you probably weren't going to be playing the rest of the games, or did you think that you'd have a chance to get back on the field after hitting that little restricted list out there?
I kind of figured that I wasn't going to come back, so I kind of just stayed in the batting cage, working on my craft and working on the process, and the break that I had from baseball, it kind of killed me. It's like baseball is like my life. So not playing it, yeah, that's like it.
Right. And I mean, I guess the next question, which is one that it's unavoidable, but can you just speak a little bit on why you went on the restricted list? I know it's not a fun question to answer, but can you speak a little bit on that just to kind of get it completely past people? Because I think a lot of people may actually be curious. I mean, I read something on the Scout STL, and it goes, "Where's Lance?" I mean, that people are wondering where you are. People notice that you haven't been playing. So I guess to just answer that question and move past it and look forward to a fruitful 2014. I guess what happened to get you on there?
Me and one of my best buddies on the team, we had an altercation in the clubhouse, and it led to I would say unprofessional action. So therefore, yeah, get on restriction.
Right. And I mean that happens obviously with every clubhouse from time to time. We hear about it, and the good thing is you get those experiences over with in the minor leagues, and you probably learn now that baseball means so much more to you having a little break from it. So maybe it's something that you need. I mean, every player goes through things like that, whether it's a huge injury problem, some adversity that they face. So we'll see how you bounce back in 2014. One of my questions is, because I know you mentioned it before we did this interview, that you're kind of a quiet guy, and then I read something that being more of a quiet guy in the first few weeks, it was kind of odd adjusting to the minors, but then you became brothers, kind of a brotherhood with your teammates. Who is the most loudmouth teammate that you have had? If that's even a question that you can answer without getting anyone in trouble. Any names stand out in your mind? I know I didn't let you prepare for that one.
I wasn't prepared. You called me.
You want me to give you a few seconds on this one and come back to it?
I would say, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but it's our shortstop, Vargas. He's from Venezuela.
Okay.
Yeah, he's chatty. He's funny. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not gonna look like a it's hard to pronounce his first name. So.
Right. All right. Well, we'll let the viewers do some digging, and maybe I'll look it up in the meanwhile. But he's given you some clues of a loudmouth, shortstop for Venezuela, and he may or may not have played on his team last year. Without getting anyone in trouble, that is what we found out. Breaking news on the Only Talk 101. That's all we do is break important news like that. But anyway, getting back to it, obviously looking forward to next year. I'm wondering, what is it like to go to a major league, minor league spring training? I mean, obviously it's great weather, and with this, whatever is going on outside in most of America, this awful weather, it's got to be something that you look forward to. So what have your experiences been like in past spring trainings?
My first spring training, I got invited to mini camp, which is like the spring training. It's like a select group of guys that they get chosen to come to the spring training workouts before spring training, and we got to work with some of the pitchers of the big league team. You had to do rundowns for them. That was a mind blowing experience for me.
Right. Yeah, that spring training obviously it's a dream of mine to get to, mainly because of the weather, but also just because you're surrounded by just so many talented players constantly, and so we'll see what happens there. But also another thing that stood out in my mind, just looking at some of your numbers here, because people will look at the batting average and they'll say, oh, he's a 250 hitter, fast, hasn't really gotten completely adjusted to the minor leagues and this and that. But look at the on base percentage, and in this day and age, everyone values that so much more because it should be valued. I mean, that's a huge part in and of itself. What are you doing right? I mean, obviously we're going to look at walks and say that's kind of the obvious thing. If you're not hitting, you're assuming that you're walking and this and that. But what are you doing right to get on base, in years past at a 370 clip when you're batting 270? That's 100 points higher. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, do you pride yourself on just simply getting on base and setting the table for the rest of the lineup, or do you feel that you can be a 300 hitter in the future?
Oh yeah, I feel like I could be a 300 hitter because my hitting coach my first year, Oliver Marmol, he taught me how to take walks. Because in high school, I hated getting walked. And minor leagues, it's not a bad thing because you can also turn a walk into two stolen bags. So it's like you have to learn how to adjust to getting walked. So I feel like getting walked is one of the biggest reasons that I have a very good on base percentage.
Absolutely, and then when you get walks, you can turn that to a first to third and increase even your value overall to your team. So that's a big part of that. Now, obviously, you're an outfielder in the crowded system, kind of the hometown kid. You've had a few years in the minors, some experience. Where do you see yourself fitting in next year? I mean, obviously you're setting goals for yourself. You're probably working out very hard. But, as a fan of the Midwest League, someone who lives here and will try to get to the ballpark sometimes, I'd love to see, you and some of the other outfielders, some of these guys drafted, a year or two ago, finally get a big start, because the Midwest League in a full season facing, very tough competition, Carlos Correa and others were, on the team last year. It's kind of a place where people establish themselves in a full season setting. Is it going to be hard to adjust to, going from a short season to a full season, or are you at all worried about the grind that may entail a lot more traveling, this and that? And do you think it's, is that a realistic goal for you to get on that low A roster?
I really don't. Like, I'm not really kind of worried about where I go as long as I have a uniform on and a bat in my hand and a place to play. Like, that's all that matters to me.
Right, and you may end up in Peoria, very close to cornfields, and maybe you'll be, regretting that you wanted to end up there, once you get there. So it's a whole experience in the Midwest League, obviously, very hot summers, this and that, but you got to go through it, and it is a big stepping stone for a lot of players. So, Lance, again, you're coming back from the list last year. You're getting a full season, hopefully, this upcoming year. What are you doing right now, different than last season, to work on training, any cross training that stands out, anything to increase speed, just lifting more maybe, or just hitting the cages more, anything that you can speak on, a new regimen of working out, or are you kind of just doing what you got to do right now?
I'm learning, actually right now, I'm learning how to adjust to the curveball. So that's the biggest standout I'm doing this year.
And yeah, I mean that's obviously going to be a huge part of that. How can you say if you started hitting the curveball maybe even 20, 30 points higher than you have so far, how do you think that will affect your overall numbers? I mean, is that like the one pitch in your mind that stands out that have really maybe depleted your numbers? Are you a very good fastball hitter and just not a great curveball hitter? Is that how you view yourself?
Yeah, I feel like if I hit the curveball, yeah, about 20, 30%, 30, 20 points more, I feel like I'm going to be a very good threat at the plate.
Yeah, absolutely, and the curveball obviously struggles for a lot of hitters there, and it's even going to get harder as you reach higher levels. So something definitely that you're going to have to learn and adjust to moving forward. Now, a few little quick questions. Nothing you'll have to stress over baseball-wise here, as we want to get the Cardinal fans a chance to meet you and know more about you, as we'll try to give this interview out to as many loyal Cardinal fans as possible. But a few things that people may not know about Lance Jeffries. What kind of music do you like? I mean, do you go to a lot of concerts in the off season, this and that? I mean, I personally go to a ton of shows and some festivals in the summer, but I'm wondering, workout music or game day music, what kind of music do you like to listen to, or artists specifically?
I love listening to music. My favorite genre of music is rap, and my favorite artist is J. Cole. I would say J. Cole.
Okay. J. Cole. You heard it first here. More breaking news as J. Cole. Favorite artist, Lance Jeffries. Now, in the offseason, I know a lot of players, at least during the season, Netflix is kind of a favorite among players. Are you one to spend a lot of time watching Netflix, Hulu, whatever one that you prefer? And if so, what are some of your favorite TV shows?
I just started watching this TV show. It's called Strike Back. Strike Back. It's about a special force agent. Yeah, I guess he got yeah, what happened? I guess he got betrayed in his office, and it's like a long story. I really can't really give you everything right now.
Yeah, we would take about 20 minutes describing the plot of it at this point. But it sounds like an interesting show. Talking about military, are you someone that would consider yourself, if you were not a really good baseball player, do you think you'd be, the type of person who would want to go and serve in the military, or is that, something that you've just been interested in watching, shows and movies about? Is that something that interests you? Maybe Call of Duty too. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I love Call of Duty. By the way, I feel like I would just leave that to the movie screen. I don't see myself in the military.
That's probably maybe the right answer, maybe the wrong answer, depending on the person watching, but I would definitely feel the same way. But yeah, I mean, obviously you like Call of Duty, got some music in there, TV shows. That's a little bit more about Lance Jeffries, and if you don't take anything else away from the interview, now you know a few more things. Lance, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, man, today. Really do appreciate it. Joining us for about, 20 minutes now. We'll hopefully get something posted, an article, and get this interview out here, because I think it's, when people look for you, and even other sites saying, where's Lance, wondering about what happened last year, it's important to know all the pieces, working behind it. It's also important for them to know that you're completely past it. In addition to that, you're going to have a good 2014. We hope for the best for you, man. So just, again, appreciate you coming on the show, and have a great day, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate having me on the show.
Absolutely. Again, that is Lance Jeffries. Go ahead and follow him on Twitter right now. Is it at Lance Jeffries, I'm guessing, or is this a yes?
Yes.
All right, very professional. Got to keep it the name. So go ahead and follow him there at Lance Jeffries and join the conversation at the MLB Talk 101. Maybe we'll bring him on mid-season again if you have enough interesting questions that you feel need to be asked. So again, Lance, have a great day, man. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's it, folks. Enjoy it.